Hi, I'm Mike Westfall, and today I start a rather unusual building project. As you can probably gather, I am a bit of a cycling enthusiast. Well, just as well, considering the route I take to work. Before I finally saw sense and settled here in the beautiful Kent countryside, I'd been a software designer in the city, a gold miner in Australia, and even a carpenter in the Middle East. Well, isn't that a beautiful sight, that wood on the hill over there? And it isn't any old wood, that's my wood. And believe it or not, there are people up there in those woods even more dedicated to mountain biking than I am. And perched, somewhere amongst the trees, is a derelict old building that I intend to transform into a wonderful weekend retreat for me and my mates. These woods aren't just here to look pretty when you ride through them, they're a real working resource. A resource I intend to use for the bulk of my building materials, including timber, stone, and even sand. And just over there is Treetops. And now, it may not look much to you now, with a bit of work and a bit of effort and a few mates, and this could be the weekender of your dreams. Just wait and see. So this building used to be, believe it or not, a cricket pavilion. It's approximately 100 years old, belonged to the Governor-General of India, and was outside a house called South Park, which is the huge wreck and ruin in the bottom of the valley here. And for reasons I don't know, they sawed it into 6 bits, put it on a trailer and brought it up here, nailed it back together again. A bloke called Badas lived in it as well. Unfortunately, he left it in a bit of a mess. I did it up once, but it's been vandalised again, as you can see. Bit of a pity. This time we'll get it right. So this will be the washroom. Showers, loos, even a bath, and basins, of course. It has been trashed, you can see that. Look, they've ripped the walls out, they've taken some of the showers out, even smashed the door in. Doesn't particularly matter. Nice, strong structure. It'll need a new floor. It'll need new plumbing, but it'll make a great washroom, great bathroom, no problems at all. This will be the dining room. As well as being a dining room, it'll also sleep several people with fold-down beds. It'll have a big stove over there to heat the water, which will be kept in a cylinder in the corner. It's currently in this little cupboard, but it's just not big enough for the job. And very pleasant. I hope we can seat about 8 people in here around the dining table and still sleep 3. Here's the kitchen. The kitchen's going to be a simple galley effect. Low units either side, cupboards at the top. The fronts of the cupboards will be with oak framed, oak doored, and the oak will in fact be from the woods. That stove there was the one that got over-stoked and set the place on fire, but never mind, more of that later. Here we are, what a lovely room. This is a fantastic view. I mean, anyone staying here will wake up and see that view through the French windows, which we're going to put here, will fall in love with the place immediately. But the bit I love is out here. Beautiful deck. Well, this one isn't that beautiful. It's been unfortunately fairly wrecked, and someone's even set it on fire with a portable barbecue, but no accounting for taste. I have visions of a lovely rocking chair here, extend the eaves out to give us a bit of protection from the weather, and it should be a beautiful place. I mean, you've even got rhododendrons already flowering here. But round this corner, the view from here is a godsend. Come and see. Unfortunately, the building caught fire. Someone was living here and got a bit excited with the stove. Thing burnt, and this is an opportunity to sort that out. A patch job has been done, not very good. And also, we can take this opportunity to beef it up a bit, because there's a pretty windy spot here, and I know other roofs are blown off in the recent storms, so we'll put some heavier timber in, pin the thing down. We'll obviously get rid of the asphalt and replace it with cedar shingles, which should look pretty good. There will have to be a couple of doors in here and a window, so that when I lie in my bath, approximately there, that's the view I'm going to get. Jealous? You should be. To draw up some plans, I've come to see an old mate called Simon Cooper, who, apart from being an artist and a musician, is also a very talented carpenter. Now, we've worked on some fascinating projects in the past, but the great thing is he knows the pavilion well. Right side, well, you've seen Treetops. Burnt roof,
Yep.
No eaves, rotting veranda.
Yeah, I've got the picture pretty much.
Walls falling to bits, supporting timbers collapsing. So that's where the problem lies. So we want to replace the roof, but not have the roof carrying the weight, not have the existing structure carrying the weight. But
right, so we are looking at a new frame of some sort to sort of on new footings really to take the whole weight of the new roof, and the old building will just be joined to it.
It's sort of extending the eaves in a sense, but also retaining much the same roof line as we've got at the moment. Because I don't want to change the roof line, I just want to give a bit more protection.
And that's a bit of a problem with how far the eaves would come down if we're not going to actually change the roof line. What about having a flat roof bit then across there? Would that?
Well, we could put a flat roof towards the back where it's burnt completely and edge the roof forward slightly. I mean, presumably standard joints and nice dovetail lap joints and all the rest of it and braces.
Yeah, fairly standard. I mean, the only thing that I can see is not quite the standard thing is that we're ending up with more or less a flat roof, whereas generally they work with the eaves rail sitting on the jowl post thing, so the eave rail's lower. With this, we're trying to actually produce one flat end result, aren't we? Which will mean that some of these rails will work more like floor joists than traditional rails.
Now this is what it'll look like from the rear, but to be quite honest, all this hard work has proved very exhausting. So while I take a well-earned rest, Simon can get to work creating the view of the front. Well, this is Simon's illustration, sort of artist's impression of how it'll look, and I think it looks terrific actually. This is the front, we're looking at it from here. The rear is the one with the view. The front had a veranda already, but it was virtually fallen to bits, so we've replaced the veranda, or we will do. We'll replace the veranda here at the front, and then we'll extend the roof over the top to make sure they're dry, both front and rear. Now the great thing is that we're doing it using traditional oak framing. Well, in fact, it's in chestnut, but it's a style of, with braces and jowl posts and so on. So the whole thing is going to be supported by these big posts. And the roof itself will have shingles, not asphalt as it has at the minute, but shingles look much better. So I'll retain the flat roof above the changing rooms, and also where the roof's burnt, we're going to make a flat roof there because it gives us access into the sloping bit, tanks and all that stuff. And of course it is possible to make that into a deck of some sort, and you know, on a hot summer's evening, maybe it'd be a pleasure to go and sleep up there and look at the stars. And I used to do that in Tehran as a boy, and wouldn't mind doing it again actually. As I mentioned earlier, we'll be providing the bulk of the building materials ourselves, and the first priority is to acquire some timber, something that we know a bit about. Now, some people would tell you this is a scene of utter devastation. In fact, environmental vandalism on a grand scale, I've heard it called. Well, it's not. It's coppicing chestnut. Coppicing is a natural part of the chestnut cycle. As you can see here, there are a number of different butts off the one stool, and these produce nice straight stems if you look after them properly. It was introduced by the Romans. The Saxons loved it. The Saxons farmed all these hills for coppice chestnut, which of course was the barbed wire of its day. Now, coppicing must be done in the winter for two reasons. One, you don't want the sap in the wood because it's much less durable in that situation, and also it's very bad for the stool. The shoots don't come back nearly so well. It tends to suffer badly. However, there are examples where you have to do some coppicing out of season. Dead, diseased and dangerous are the basic reasons for doing so. And just over here we've got such an example. I will show you. No, I won't. This is James Copplestone, who likes to think of himself as a famous mountain biker, but is in fact a tree surgeon and has found a large chestnut that needs to come down.
I'm just sorting out this pulling rope. We've got to lean away from the direction we want to take it down in, so with the help from a few lads, we'll get it down that way.
And it's definitely going to come down?
I'd say so. There's, as you can see, there's butt rot in here, possibly honey fungus, but could be any number of different fungal spores. As you can see further up also.
And they call it hardwood?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Extraordinary. Oh, it's definitely dead.
Yeah, it's lost its figure.
What have we got up there?
And they're woodpecker holes, which is another sign of decay in the main stem. So again, it's you know, it's not stable. It's dangerous.
Those of you who, like James, have done your forestry courses will no doubt recognise the problem. This tree's got a real lean on it, and it's going to be tricky. So James has attached some ropes that we can pull on in order to get it to fall into the right area.
Going that way.
Yes, whoops, I think you've guessed it. It would seem to have gone slightly off course. So while everyone else is concerned with any peripheral damage, I have more pressing problems on my mind. See my glasses anywhere, have you?
It's out of the way. Right, let's get it cut up.
Right. Hey ho. Well, you know, they don't always do exactly what you want. It has been known. I mean, I've had them come down exactly where I was standing before, and I've had to run like hell, but nobody hurt, and you know, thank God we had that space to drop it into. Lucky. Well, we better get it cut up. Treetops, which is the name of the old cricket pavilion we're transforming into a weekend retreat, shares the woods with an off-road cycling club. Well, Treetops is a couple of 100 yards off in that direction, and that's where we're going to be doing the big renovation work. This is actually a jump for a four-cross, national four-cross, which is kind of extreme mountain biking to you and me. And to my right is the clubhouse. This is the sort of thing I'm doing when I'm not doing up treetops. And here we've taken a bunch of sea containers and turned them into a clubhouse for the cycle track. Well, the great thing about sea containers is they're tough, and that hasp is a good example of that. A box hasp stops people breaking in. Oh, talking of tough things, there's Claire, who does the catering, and this is the kitchen. Beneath our feet, there's another sea container with bikes in it, and this one's got the loos. And then through here is a lovely bridge. We made this bridge entirely from a single tree, from a single cedar tree, which is remarkable. I just couldn't have imagined there's that much timber in one tree. Two more sea containers here. This top one is the office. And there, lurking in the office now, this is what we're going to be building sometime in the future to replace all this. This is our new clubhouse, a sort of avenue of trees, huge avenue of trees with sort of cantilever rafters running, a joist running across the top, which will be lots of fun. Nearly all the materials will come from the woods, stone, wood, sand, everything else. So that'll be lovely fun. But for the minute, that's not what we're doing. You know, we've got a treetops to build. This is the future. Treetops is the present. Anybody in building will tell you the frustrations are amazing. You're phoning around for materials, for builders, for everything, and nothing ever seems to get started. Well, while we're waiting, this is something we can do. The bike track up here, and this has just been delivered just the other day. And it's, well, I'll show you what it's for. We'll just do a little demo with Steve here, who's both a cyclist and a carpenter. Right, Steve, you'll undo the lock. Thank you. Okay, someone says go, kid hits the button, the ramp drops, and the kids go nowhere. Why? Because there's no timber bridging to the ground. Now that's where Steve comes in. Yeah. Okay, let's try this one in situ. Right, yeah. Yeah, you're right. We're going to have to drop that down a little bit. Yeah. Knock in whichever way. Well, the chap doing the sawing is called Boo. Don't ask me how he got his name, but I've no idea. But like Steve, he's part of the team who will be helping me renovate Treetops. We see you can never beat a hammer and a nail. Well, you can beat a nail with a hammer, but a hammer and a nail, it works. With a gas gun, it jams and I mean, I have to admit, they're a very good bit of kit when they work. Now, believe it or not, we actually spent a long time working out what board goes where before nailing them down. But we've hit a bit of a snag. Is it worth it? Can we not just put another cut in, the one that ran through?
Can do, but all this is all tapered, ready to go in for your... Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, we've got this cheeky numbering system where we've got the same numbers on several boards just to make it trickier. if they were all just numbered with a single number on each, it would be too easy, and anyone could do this job, you see. So we don't want it that easy that someone else moves in and takes over. So we make it tricky by putting the same number on different boards. Oh, I love this job. Right, well, we're supposed to be starting work, but as you can hear, we've had a little trouble with our timber supply. You can probably hear the saw running in the background now. You may also be able to hear that Roger is playing with his big digger, his 360 digger in the bottom of the valley there, clearing some rhododendron for us. That's for the bike track. You've got to get rid of some rhododendron. It is plant enemy #1 nationally, and it is a monoculture, non-indigenous, and supports no wildlife. Nothing grows under it, nothing lives within it. So bad stuff. Now look, this is an old wooden house, and as I mentioned before, this belonged to the Governor General of India. But then he didn't live here, of course. He lived in the bottom of the valley in a massive stone palace. And you just wonder which of the two would have fared the better. By the way, this is William, or Stinker to his friends. And if you're wondering why he walks a little strangely, it's because I ran him over, unfortunately, with a 6-ton dumper when he was just a pup. Sorry, Will. Well, this is the old ruin of the castle that belonged to the Governor General of India, former Governor General of India, Viscount Harding of Lahore and King's Newton I. And it was given to him by a grateful nation after he defeated the Amir of Sindh in the Sikh Wars. And then he became eventually Governor General of the British forces worldwide. And he lived here for a bit, but slowly over time, of course, the thing's fallen down and collapsed and the family's moved on, and it's just a ruin. Interestingly, although the Governor General returned in the 1840s to the UK and lived here, his statue remained in Calcutta, but it became a rallying point for dissidents, and it was sent back by the railway company from India. And it stood outside this house for some time, 19 foot tall, until they demolished the house. And then it was shipped to Glasgow, and I believe it's in someone's back garden in Glasgow, which must be a talking point for the neighbours. Over there, just a couple of 100 yards away across the valley, is the South Park Wood, where we have the bike track and the Treetops Pavilion. Between the two, believe it or not, there's a tunnel. Well, why do I believe that? Well, an old chap called Mitchell told me there was a tunnel. He's been up it, he's seen it, he's walked up it from this end. And why would you put a tunnel in? Well, the French Revolution wasn't that long ago, and quite a few aristos lost their heads. I guess the Governor General didn't want to be among them. So this end of the tunnel was lost when they demolished the house. But that end, of course, no one was ever told where it came out, because the last thing you'd want to do is have a lot of people waiting for you as you escaped. So somewhere in the woods, there's a tunnel. And we don't know where it comes out, but one day we might lose the digger, or a cyclist, or even me. Come on, Will. Come on, Will, he'll squash you. You know what he's like. Whoa, right. That's Roger sorted out on his way up. See what young Scott's been up to. Hello, Scott.
Hiya.
Wow, how's it going?
Well, found some of the old building materials, not looking in particularly good shape. So do you want me to carry on clearing this or start ripping off the cladding?
Well, I'm a bit dubious about taking the cladding off until it's absolutely necessary. If you look at those rafters and joists up there, you can see they're burnt to nothing. And I'm just a little bit worried it might be a bit flimsy, the roof.
Okay.
So best play with that.
Yep.
And blimey, here comes Roger. I'm just going to sort Roger out. Whoa! Whoa! Hello, Dodge.
Hello.
Lovely job down the bottom there. Thanks very much.
It's gone okay.
Right. Now the next bit. Bit of bramble here and there to just trash up a little bit for me, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
A bit more over here. Hello, Will.
I'm going to leave the broom and
Yeah,
stuff.
leave that broom. That's too good to lose, really. That's a huge nuisance, and obviously a lot easier with your machine than by hand. But this is the big job. All this birch has come up and sort of gone mad, and basically I'm looking to clear it bar about 4 stems, which I'll stand here in my usual fashion and wave my arms around and say, no, not that one, put it back.
As far down as I can reach.
As far as you can go. Now, this action here with the silver birch looks like another case of environmental vandalism on a grand scale. It's not. They're silver birch. Silver birch is first growth. Up they come in a hurry, and in between them, we hope little oaks will be coming up. In this case, we're gonna fake it. Pick up the oak and plant it over there. The silver birch lasts 40, 60, maybe even 80 years. These last 200, 300, 400. It's a whole different time scale. Whoa. Ugh. Well, it's not exactly gruesome, but it's... You do wonder what on earth is down there. All right, volunteers. Who's going to volunteer to climb down there and have a look?
Robin's the smallest.
I don't think so.
Oh well, it'll have to be me then.
It's Mike's project.
It's just a hole in the ground. Nice fern coming up the side there. Bit of rhododendron. I don't particularly like rhododendron, but never mind. Is that a jobby? No, it's just a bit of mud. Right guys, well James, how are your crowns?
Yeah, they're all done.
Excellent news. Well, it's been a great day. We've done a lot. We've done a heck of a lot, but my goodness, there's a lot left to do. What's the old expression? Not the end, not the beginning of the end, but the end of the beginning. We've got milling, plumbing, quarrying, oh, I don't know, plastering, electrics, and lots of chippy work to do. But we've started and we've made a good start, I think. And there's still some timber to clear up from today, so let's go and get that sorted out, guys. Here we go. And if you're wondering what happened to the start ramp, well, here it is, being used in the national championships. Ha ha!